Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, for WWE Evolve, we are going to see a contract signing for the Women's Evolve Championship. Callie Armstrong will defend her championship against a lady who, as you all know, has a great reputation, not to mention her family background, Natalia. As you know, in recent weeks, Callie Armstrong has showed disrespect to Natalia due to the fact that Natalia sees a lot of potential in her, but we'll see how things will roll. But also, our main event features, of course, Lince Dorado teams up with LWO with Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde to take on the Vanity Project. So that's going to be a very interesting match to watch. And then finally, of course, we move on with AEW Dynamite. As you all know, we are on the road to All In. So a lot of things could happen. As you know, the Death Riders are targeting Hangman Adam Page to ensure he never makes it to All In. And of course, Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland are setting their sights set on the Bucks to dismantle them as the EVPs, and plenty other things are going to happen as well. So we'll see where it goes. But first things first, Chris Brooks has produced the next Baka Gaijin and Friends show, volume 23. Of course, him featuring himself teaming up with Antonio Honda to take on, of course, Princess Kaicho and Munich, and it's going to be a fun match. But however, the main event features, of course, the BK-G Openweight Championship be defended. Mr. Malo defends his championship for the second time, and he faces it against, of course, a very interesting mystery opponent, and that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So we'll see how that rolls. And then we move on, of course, with a bit of a very short news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world. Pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics, such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have been said, so let's get to it. So let's begin with our first review, and this one is Baka Gaijin and Friends. Okay, Baka Gaijin and Friends, Volume 23. So we are having 4 matches involved in this. So let's begin with the first one, We have Mr. Bueno. He takes on against Dark King Yuiki, consistent of Takayuki Ueki. As you know, he has plenty of characters. So this match, you probably can guess, it went crazy. Now, at some point of the match, they went through the elevator. Nobody knows where they went. It went off script or something. I don't know. But anyway, while that was happening, we jump into the next match, which features Antonio Honda and Chris Brooks, who are a faction. I can't pronounce their name right. They take on against a good side of Brand Kaicho, known as Princess Kaicho, and we have Munich, consistent of Munetatsu Nakajima. So that's his alter ego right there. So basically, you saw there was going to be some interesting moments on that, not to mention choking moments, of course, Antonio Honda's usual storytelling. But at some point, out of nowhere, we did see, of course, Dark King Yuiki and Mr. Bueno reappear out of nowhere. But of course, Mr. Bueno decided to, of course, how do I say this? To try to do the same kind of maneuvers where, of course, he pretend he injured himself. The same thing Antonio Honda has been known for. And then, of course, they did storytelling and all that. But the best part is that we'd see a unison Japanese leg lock roll on both, of course, Mr. Bueno and on Honda. They applied it both, of course. Bueno applied that with Yuiki, and of course Honda applied that with Munich, and just like that, both matches were done in that type of stereotype. So it's a pretty good one, not gonna lie. Now our next match we have Mao versus Shin Nukijun Ken. I don't know who the hell is, but this guy shows up wearing like a somewhat of a box type of look. I don't know, but I don't know who he was. But the match ended itself in a countout. So I thought it was really bizarre because I don't know how that works because they're in a flat ring. I don't know. Now our next match, we have the BK-G Openweight Championship featuring, of course, what's his name? Mr. Malo. He defends it against then Shuko Dino. Many of you may remember him. He is the dude from DDT who kisses guys and not to mention teabags the guys as well. He's a bit of a gay guy you don't want to be around, but that's exactly what happened. Of course, he was going to bring his usual antics into the match, not to mention he made out with a few guys that were holding Mr. Malo in order to ensure the win. But unfortunately, this match ended with, of course, with Mr. Malo applying a glass bottle attack. He used the glass bottle to take out, what's his name? And Dino, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. He retained his championship, and this is his second defense. Sooner or later, he'll have another opponent, but we'll just have to wait and see when that day comes. So as of right now, we're officially done with Baka Gaijin and Friends. Let's move on with WWE Evolve. Okay, WWE Evolve. We opened up with, of course, with Jamar Hampton taking on Edris Enofe. Now, as you all know, recently Edris Enofe has shown a brand new attitude last week when he decided to confront Dante Chen, feeling that he doesn't like the idea of Dante Chen getting involved now, stealing his spotlight. But of course, Jamar confronted him about the whole thing, and this is where it leads us. Now, of course, we did see some great moves with Jamar Hampton. We know he has the talent, but when it comes to that, he has to stay on focus. But in the end, it was Edris Enofe with a neck breaker that allowed him to pick up the win. 1, 2, 3, just like that. Enofe walked away with the win. Now, Stevie Turney had a nice, of course, chat with Lince Dorado. As you know, she is very happy that, of course, Lince Dorado was able to bring, of course, the LWO, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. But of course, as you know, both members of the LWO are very happy to be there to teach, of course, the younger generation a very interesting lesson. So we'll see how things will roll up from there. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, we did see a bit of a video promo with Cappuccino Jones and Jack Cartwheel. Now, as you all know, we've already established the men's Evolved Championship, same thing with the women's. But now it seems that Cappuccino Jones and Jack Cartwheel are telling Stevie Turner, "Hey Stevie, let come on, build the tag team titles," and they want to aim for it. But I have that distinct feeling once those things are going to establish, there's that distinct feeling for me that Vanity Project will love nothing more to obtain those belts. But we'll see how things will go from there as we go along with the whole thing. Now, we did see, of course, Layla Diggs versus Jin Tala. Now, originally, Layla Diggs was supposed to face against, I forgot her name, Aria Bennett, but she was recently attacked. But I have to say, Jin Tala, as you know, has been very impressive recently, and she was able to apply like an arm lock known as the Bakunara Ban, and just like that, it was over. But during the post-match comments with Chewy, they talked about, of course, she said something that she's there to that she's kicking ass. Now, I don't know. Something tells me that the attacker is maybe closer than we think. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, the Vanity Project, as you know, they are looking at, of course, Lince Dorado, and not to mention LWO. They believe that this is now a young man's game. So they're treating it like the veterans versus the young, but that's something we will see down the road. Now, we did see the contract signing for the upcoming Women's Evolve Championship. Callie Armstrong will defend the title against Natalya. Now, of course, I mentioned before that Callie Armstrong showed some disrespect towards, of course, towards Natalya when she presented the belt. And of course, Natalya called her a spoiled brat, and all hell broke loose until Natalya put her in the, of course, infamous sharpshooter. And just like that, of course, we'll see how things will roll. Now, Thatcher was talking to Sean Legacy, telling him, "Hey, dude, last time you being in that gauntlet match against the Vanity Project was really stupid." But Sean Legacy was willing to recognize, yes, that was my fault. So he's willing to admit his mistakes. Now, speaking of Vanity Project, well, they face against Lince Dorado and LWO. You can tell that the Vanity Project were trying to prove that they are the ones in control, but unfortunately that wasn't the case, because it was Lince Dorado that was able to defeat Jackson Drake and with the shooting star prize, and just 1, 2, 3, it was over. But however, because he pinned Jackson Drake, the possibilities he could challenge for the Men's Evolve Championship. So we'll see what happens down the road from that. But as of right now, we're officially done with, of course, WWE Evolve. Let's move on with AEW Dynamite. Okay, AEW Dynamite. It opened up with, of course, with Hangman Page doing a promo talking about Jon Moxley. However, he knows that the odds are against him, knowing too well that Jon Moxley will have the Death Riders, the Elite, and whoever stands in his way. So he decided to have a Texas Death Match. Now, Jon Moxley, as you know, he feels that he is out of his mind, out of his element, and not to mention that he has no idea what he was getting himself into. So he denied his little request until he was attacked by the Death Riders, leaving him behind. However, Hangman Page got up and all this until Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli tried to intervene until the Op showed up to defend Hangman. However, Marina Shafir tried, of course, to hurt him, but it did not work, putting fear in, of course, Marina Shafir, thinking that she might get hurt. So Moxley knew that the only way to save her is to give, of course, Hangman Page the match that he desired in order for this match to happen for him to win the AEW World Title. However, Hangman Page showed him that if you were going to go that far, well, so do I. So he decided that he's going to buckshot lariat Marina, and just like that, it's over. You saw the look of Claudio and Wheeler. They can't believe that Hangman went that far. Well, You guys were capable of doing that, but that's exactly what he did. So we'll see where that goes. Now, Toni Storm, as you know, made a decision to be in the front row seat to watch the TBS Championship with her associate and friend Mina Shirakawa faces against Mercedes Moné. Now, I think many people might have assumed because there is the possibility that Mercedes Moné could win the AEW Women's Championship and she could drop the TBS title. But however, that wasn't the case. Mina, we have seen her what she can do in the ring, but unfortunately, Mercedes Moné was able to pick up the win when she applied a inside cradle when of course Mina was trying to apply the figure four leg lock, but it did not go well, and of course Toni tried to check up on Mina, but of course Mercedes attacked her, sending her message straight that she will be the one to dethrone her once and for all, but we'll see what happens. Now, our next match is a four-way battle for the number 2 spot in the Casino Battle Royale in the Casino Gauntlet match at All In. So we have MJF versus Anthony Bowens versus Brody King versus AR Fox. Now, however, MJF tried to bribe Brody King in order to do so, but it did not fail. We did see some great moments in this match. However, MJF had the better laugh when he applied the salt to the earth on AR Fox, and AR Fox had no choice but to tap out. However, during the post-match, apparently, Mark Briscoe, as you know, tells him, hey, you're number 2, I'm number 1. So we're going to see what happens. But however, we did see, of course, Jet Speed showed up and tried to get retribution on, of course, on Lashley and, what's his name, Benjamin. However, they were getting beat up and thrown down. But of course, Jet Speed showed them that they're not afraid of getting beat up because they will always get back up. But Kevin Knight told them the only way you're going to get rid of us if you just kill us. But of course, MVP tried to calm them down because they don't want nothing to go wrong. And that's exactly what's been going. Now, our next match, we have the Young Bucks teaming up with Konosuke Takeshita to take on Paragon, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong to take with Bandito. Of course, there were going to be some interesting moments with the Bucks in order to pick up the wins. That's exactly what we're going to do because we know Takeshita has a sight set on the ROH World Title. But unfortunately, this match ended with a very interesting combination. The Bucks and Takeshita applied the EVB trigger with a knee strike, and then of course Takeshita applied the Raging Fire on O'Reilly, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, during the post-match, we did see Swerve and Will Ospreay were demanding that they put their EVP title, EVP status on the line. But however, Will Ospreay decided to say, if you put those titles on those positions on the line, we're willing to put something on the table. And that table is, he said, that if they lose, if the Bucks win them by any chance, they will not competing for the AEW World Title for 1 year. So this is like something that, of course, we know that the Bucks will love. Nothing more is to see that. So they accept it. But the real question is this was a mistake coming from Will Ospreay? Well, we'll see. Because I know Swerve does not like this whatsoever. But we'll see. Now, we did see, of course, our main event. Kota Ibushi taking on Konosuke Takeshita. Now, it's no secret that these guys have a direct connection with Kenny Omega Okada, who has faced them countless times back in New Japan. Kota Ibushi being a member of the Golden Lovers, and of course, someone who has faced Kenny before. But of course, Don Callis was going to be there. But unfortunately, this match ended with Takeshita applying, of course, the Rainmaker, and just like that, it was over. And then we did see a beatdown coming from them. Rocky, Lance Archer, Okada, and then all of a sudden Kenny Omega showed up. And then of course Trent Beretta tried to attack, but it was in vain, and it was completely over right from there. So Kenny Omega's back, and we'll see what happens down the road. So I think that's pretty much it what we have for AEW Dynamite. Let's move on to our last and final thing, news updates. welcome to our news update. So we have a bit of a short one right now. We do have, of course, upcoming events, so let's get started with that. As you know, on the 5th of July, we have the Top of the Play this coming Saturday with GCW. Joey Janela will be in action to take on Adam Priest. And then, of course, we have their sister promotion, Jersey Championship Wrestling, known as JCW, for the Born Almost on American 4th of July. We're going to have a women's tag team match. We have Billy Starks teaming up with Miyu Yamashita. They take on Lena Cross and Megan Bayne. And then finally, we have a brand new show from Deadlock Pro Wrestling called Beast Coast that will happen on the 10th of August. And it was also announced that the DPW World Championship will be on the line. Adam Priest will defend his championship against Jake something. Now on to developments. Many of you may have heard Brian Cage has completely got himself baptized, but he wasn't alone. So was his daughter. So both his daughter and himself are now officially baptized. And you know, as you all know, I'm a Christian too, and all that. I'm also baptized. I know what the feeling is, but it's great to hear that this is a beautiful moment for Christian Cage, not only for himself, but also with his daughter. So it's pretty cool to hear that. Now, finally, Fightful Select reports that Ruby Soho, as you all know, we haven't seen her since she announced her pregnancy, and not to mention recently she is married with Cool Hand Ange, is now back in training in the wrestling ring. It's still unclear when she'll be back. Now, hopefully we don't see something similar to what we saw with Ty Mello, but we just have to wait and see. But as of right now, we are officially done with everything. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have TNA and Ring of Honor. I don't know for sure if there was going to be anything else or if I'm going to be reviewing other events, but we'll just have to wait and see. But until then, we'll see how things will roll. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.